gentlemen, friends and family, on behalf of Cody and Carolyn and Baloo, we, we welcome you on here today on this auspicious day in this beautiful setting. What a glorious day. Most of the weddings that I attend are in churches, but Carolyn and Cody don't need to be confined within four walls because I see them both as children of nature, and they're outside, and this is their kind of place. This is their cathedral, I think. We wanted to thank you for all coming and making this journey. They wanted to share this location with you because they've enjoyed Southern California so much for the last 3 years, and they wanted you to see what there was about it that they liked, and they provided a wonderful day for us right here. They love nature, and they wanted to be part of it. Most of you are here making long journeys to get here, and Cody and Carolyn wanted to thank you for that because they know it wasn't an easy journey for many of you. But the fact is that they wanted you here because you've been a part of their lives. You've grown up with them, you've gone to school with them, you've traveled with them, and they wanted you here to enjoy their special day. You were the ones that have supported them through all thick and thin, not just when it's the good times, but through the bad times as well. So it's only fitting that you are here for this once-in-a-lifetime occasion. And about this time, a lot of you are wondering, who is that old fart and what's he doing up there? Well, the truth is, because of serendipity or karma, or whatever you want to call it, happenstance, or just pure dumb luck, my wife Carol, who unfortunately could not be here today, and I were doing one of our 5-week yearly trips somewhere in the world. And we were in Indonesia, and we're getting set to take a little journey up the backwaters of Borneo to find the orangutans, my favorite animal. It was just going to be the two of us on the boat with the crew. And the night before we were to leave, I got a call. And I was told that there was a couple that wanted to join us. And if we would agree to that it would save us several $100s on the cost of the trip. So I said, well, who are these people? And they said, well, it's an American couple. I thought, oh, the last thing I need to do is to see Americans. I avoid them like the plague when I travel. I don't come to Borneo to hang out with Americans. But I'm also cheap. So I thought, okay, I have my wife, Carol. It's only 4 days. I can do this. The next morning, the car rolls up to the hotel, small car. Cody and Carolyn are in the back seat, pretty well filling the back seat already. And they motioned my wife to get into the back seat and me to get in the front. So Cody scoots over. Carolyn winds up on sort of a 45-degree angle, pinned against the door on one side, and Cody on the other side. So as I got in the front seat, I turned around to say hello, and Carolyn goes, hi! You know this about her, right? You've seen this before. Cody was warm and friendly too, but certainly more subdued than what Carolyn was. But immediately, I just felt this energy from these two kids. The room, the car was just filled with this electric, positive energy that just pervaded the whole space. So we're going down to Kumai, where the boat is, about a 15-minute ride. And I turned around and asked Cody, so what's the deal with you kids? You just blow into town or what? And Cody said, no. We've been on the road for 8 months. We've been traveling down through Southeast Asia, backpacking. And I thought, yes, this is going to be just great. And it was. For the next 4 days, we just talked and talked and talked. There wasn't a whole lot to do on the boat, but we sat out on the deck as the river kept getting narrower and narrower and narrower, looking at the flora and the fauna along the way. And occasionally we would stop at a little village, a water village, with the houses and the walkways all on stilts, and we would just go in and see that. But mostly we just talked. And Carolyn and Cody told us all kinds of stories about their time, their histories, about growing up in foreign countries. Cody in Japan, Carolyn in Minnesota. That's Scandinavia, right? So same thing. They talked about growing up, going to school in D.C. They talked about a year in Spain, where they exchange students for a whole year in Spain, and they didn't even hook up then. What was that all about? They talked about traveling down through Southeast Asia and all the things that they had done. One of my favorite things to do when I get to know people is I just say, tell me a story. And sometimes they're just very banal stories, but often they give a lot of thought to it. So when I asked Carol and I said, tell me a story, she says, what? And I said, just tell me something. Tell me a story. And she says, okay, just a minute. Let me think. And so what she did was she just thought for a second because she understood what I was doing. I wasn't just looking for a story. I was looking for a clue to who she was as a person. And I don't remember the exact story that she told because we had so many amazing stories in the 4 days. But it wasn't one of those, I went to the mall, I bought some shoes, I went home, they were the wrong color for my dress, and I took them back. It was something that told me it was intuitive and instructional and informational and entertaining, but it also showed me who she was. And it was the same with Cody's stories. They were just very interesting, and I learned so much from them. One of the things I learned is that they don't think small. They have a big vision. They see things, they don't just walk down a narrow path of life, but rather they're looking side to side as they go along the way. They're inclusive, they're not exclusive. They didn't have some small, narrow idea of how things were supposed to be and what they were supposed to do, but rather it was a big vision. It was a worldly vision. And because of that, I think, they became one with the world themselves. I was particularly interested in their stories about backpacking down through Southeast Asia for 8 months. I had done something similar when I was young, so I really understood the difficulties of what they did. And the amazing thing about it was, not just that they did this, but after 8 months, they were still talking to each other. I think that was a major accomplishment myself. But they were still warm and friendly and loving to each other after all this time. And I was really impressed with that. I always break people down into 3 categories when they move about. There's vacationers, there's tourists, and there's travelers. Vacationers go to the resort. They hang out in the lounge chair and have the cabana boy bring them the rum and cokes and the Mai Tais, and they sit there and read a book while they're doing that. Tourists go to hit all the high spots that are in the travel books. They go to all the souvenir shop and buy all the kitschy little things to take back to the grandkids or the neighbors. But the travelers are the one who get down and dirty with what they're doing and seeing the nitty-gritty of the life. And this is what Cody and Carolyn did. The stories that they told about teaching in Thailand for the month and living with the families and all the little things that they did was really amazing. And the one thing that really impressed me about them was that there was nothing that was negative. Everything that they did was positive. Now, there were difficulties. There were things that they didn't expect. There were obstructions along the way. But they never came across as, well, that was a drag because that didn't work out. But rather they saw it as a learning experience, as something that they could benefit from that would help them down the line. It was just such joy in their conversation, in their stories. I'm a better person because you 2 kids came into my life. As an old fart, it's pretty easy to be discouraged about the way things are. I'm sure that my mother thought that we were all going to hell in a handbasket when I was a kid because of rock and roll. But we survived that. But things seem a little bit different now. And so it's easy for me to be discouraged when I see things domestically and internationally. But Cody and Carolyn had such commitment that they wanted to make things better. And I really felt that they were giving me hope for not just for their lives, but for my grandchildren's lives, that things were going to be better because of that. My generation, we wound up being the pretender from Jackson Browne. We just kind of took the money and run. But I didn't see that in these 2 kids. And with their friends and that are here with them today, I feel a sense of emboldenment and just a sense of joy that the things are going to be okay. And that makes me very happy about that. I liked how they moved together. It seemed that so many couples kind of move like this, but Cody and Carolyn didn't do that. They moved along, they would go across, and move back together. Carolyn would stop to take photos, usually of kids, and she'd get right down on that level with the kids and get eyeball to eyeball with them and take their picture. Cody would be walking along the pathway and he'd see some enormous spider hanging from a tree or some incredible fungi that was very different and colorful. So he would stop to do that. But they always came back together. And I didn't feel like it was just because they were just the 2 of us, them and the 2 of us, but rather they seemed to be so much better when they were together than apart. They moved in harmony. They moved in sync with each other. And I really like that about them. I'm not one to put full credit to parents about how kids turn out. I've seen some terrible parents. I taught for 30 years, okay? I've seen some terrible parents that produce really amazing kids. And I saw some wonderful parents whose children just didn't turn out, didn't very well. But I will say this, that when Cody and Carolyn talked about their families, it was quite obvious to me that the unconditional love that they were given, the nurturing of their spirits, the intellectual and cultural seeds that were planted in them, showed me that they were products of parents who really, really helped them find their own proper path of life. Because it's easy to say that, but it's more difficult to find that path because we wander along a lot before they do that. I think along the paths of life, there are many doors along that way. And a lot of people just wind up being on that yellow brick road and look straight ahead, trying to get to the Wizard of Oz and trying to find the Emerald Palace to save their lives. Cody and Carolyn don't do that. They walk on this path, but there's doors, and they open the door to look and see what's behind them. If they don't like it, they close the door and keep on going. If they do like it, they go. They're not afraid to go through the door and explore what's there and find out something new for themselves. So I really, really appreciated that. As a final comment, I want to tell you about the incident that meant more to me about who they were as people than anything else. We'd been 4 days up to find the orangutans, and on the way back, it was a lazy, lazy afternoon, and the Indonesian sun was beating down, and they were over the overhang, the incredible clouds, these tropical clouds of cumulus, of big billowy white blossoms in the sky. They decided to take a nap. But they don't sleep just side by side. They formed a T. And Carolyn is on her back, Cody is on his stomach with his head across Carolyn's waist. His arm goes around Carolyn like this. Carolyn's got her arm around his back, and they just look so peaceful and so calm. It was a perfect moment. And at that moment, you were a perfect couple. I know you're not perfect individuals, but as a couple, you were perfect, and I just really appreciated that. And so that's how I came into this whole scene. And with that being said, let's get this thing rolling so we can all get to the party. Weddings are a happy event, but there's also a certain amount of nostalgia for those who can't be here with us today. And Cody and Carolyn wanted to acknowledge their grandparents who are no longer with them. So before we start the actual ceremony, we wanted to say about Cody's paternal grandparents, Thomas and Evelyn Pamela Snell, as well as Cody's maternal grandparents, Suzanne and Abe Shearer. Cody remembers Suzanne's incredible generosity and warmth, taking him on trips to places like the Bahamas and Disney World. It's great places for a kid, huh? And Cody also remembers Abe and their discussions that they would have as they took long walks on the beautiful Portland, Oregon afternoons. Carolyn and her family would also like to acknowledge her paternal grandparents, Regis and Bob Wright. Carolyn remembers playing with the Wright cousins at Nana and Bubba's and trying to play Nana's organ, only to find out that it wasn't quite a piano. And she'd like to acknowledge her maternal grandfather, Donald Dishner, who always encouraged her to work her hardest and would be especially proud to see her in business school, though he always called her his future lawyer. Oops. And now, in the spirit of love and life, that Cody and Carolyn have chosen 2 readings to share with you today. The first is All I Ever Needed to Know, I Learned in Kindergarten by Robert Fulgham, and I'd like to welcome Cody's older sister, Coral, to come up and read that.
Okay, so just so you know, after this, there's a second reading at the reception. I'll meet you at the bar, and that reading is entitled, All I Ever Really Needed to Know, I Learned from My Big Sister. So meet me at the bar during the reception for that one. But this one is also very wonderful. All I ever really needed to know, I learned in kindergarten. All of what I really need to know about how to live and what to do and how to be, I learned in kindergarten. Wisdom was not at the top of the graduate school mountain, but there in the sandbox at nursery school. These are the things I learned. Share everything, play fair, don't hit people, put things back where you found them, Clean up your own mess. Don't take things that aren't yours. Say sorry when you hurt somebody. Wash your hands before you eat. Flush. Warm cookies and cold milk are good for you. Give them to someone who feels sad. Live a balanced life. Learn some and think some and draw and paint and sing and dance and play and work every day. Take a nap every afternoon. Be aware of wonder. Remember the little seed in the plastic cup? The roots go down and that plant goes up, and nobody ever knows really how or why, but we are all like that. And it is still true. No matter how old you are, when you go out into the world, it is best to hold hands and stick together. Love you guys.
And the second reading is Will You Still Love Me by Ariel Astoria. And please welcome Cody's older sister, Jillian, to read that. I'm sorry, Carolyn's sister. I beg your pardon. Be good if I read my notes, huh?
We made it. Okay. Yeah. Congratulations. Here we are. Will you still love me? We've lost the art of loving because we've stopped becoming artists of truly seeing people. Of truly seeing people. We're afraid that if they look too closely, they'll find us, buried underneath our facades and once established great walls. We water down vulnerability by letting the words slip too carelessly from our mouths. We define relationships through social media, approval, likes, and not enough rawness. We're afraid that the bare and unfiltered parts of us are just too ugly for anyone to ever hold tenderly, to be told that they are exquisite and beautiful. So we have women who cover up their unfiltered with makeup so that even beauty marks forget they're beautiful. And men who spray cologne to hide the scent of liquid salt they can't even call tears, you see. We've lost the art of loving because we've stopped remembering where our puzzle pieces are supposed to be placed. Too many people making failed attempts to be seen, mixed matched and jagged edges. It's no wonder why we feel so misplaced. It's no wonder why they deem us a generation that's forgotten how to love well, yes. We write stories of humans sticking in each other like inhales and exhales, but we don't just want I love yous anymore because they've become too hollowed out for us to feel any of that stuff. We want, you are messed up, crazy, and beautiful, and I want to know every layer of who you are. I want someone to tell me that the thing in my chest beats too whole for anything half-hearted. I was once told that I was deserving of a beautifully handcrafted love story. So I want white-out words and scratched-out ones for ones that fit better. I want typewriter fonts that leak into calligraphy sometimes. I want to have late-night conversations that make me wake up and ask myself, how could I do better? I want to be touched in the ways that puts this tattered and washed-out crown back into my namesake. I know that it's there, patiently waiting and orchestrating for us to find it over and over again. Say hello to this thing called love that we've redefined so many times. No one really knows its meaning anymore. So maybe we haven't lost the art of loving. We've just forgotten what it looks like. And maybe we haven't lost the art of loving after all. Maybe this is what it looks like.
And thank you, Coral and Jillian. I think weddings are always so much more pleasant with music, and it's been very nice to hear the music along the way here. Carolyn and Cody wanted to include more music in their celebration today because they have a lifetime appreciation for the power of music to bring people together. To help bring music to this day, we'd now like to invite Cody's best man, Ethan Tucker, and his brother Sam Tucker to perform a song that captures the joy of love and lifelong partnership. Cody, Sam, and Ethan grew up playing music together, but since Ethan and Sam are much better musicians, they'll be the ones performing. And I also understand that nobody really wants to hear Cody sing. Gentlemen.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear, there is no one there to dry your tears. Oh, I hold for you a million years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I will never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met, no doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, and I'd go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. The storms are raging on the rolling seas and on the highway of regrets, but the winds of change are blowing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. There's nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of this earth for you to make you feel my love. Oh yes, to make you feel my love. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. That was lovely. During Cody and Carolyn's backpacking trip through Southeast Asia, they spent over a month volunteering in northeastern Thailand. While there, they participated in a ceremony common to Thailand and Laos called Bai Si, which is used to celebrate important events like births, special occasions, and weddings. Carolyn and Cody participated in such a ceremony just as their time for volunteering was coming to an end, and it wasn't until the end of the ceremony that they discovered that this actually counted as a wedding for themselves. So this is, in fact, Cody and Carolyn's second wedding. It's comforting because now we know they haven't been living in sin for the last 3 years. Traditionally, the Bicey ceremony involves tying white cotton strings around a person's wrist to preserve good luck. It allows white as the color of peace, good fortune, honesty, and warmth. The white cotton thread is a lasting symbol of continuity, community, and permanence. In that vein, Cody and Carolyn have asked the bridal party to send their marriage with luck and good wishes and happiness. As a word to the bridal party, make sure you tie these strings tight enough, because if they stay on for 3 days, it's an auspicious start to the marriage. And guys, when Cody's hands start turning white, you got it nailed. So each member of the wedding party can come now to tie these strings.
Like Grandma Kelly, may you always pray for and get sunshine. Like Nana and Bubba and our own parents, may you and Cody find a chance to dance every chance you get.
Always love fully and unconditionally, and may you never lose your Portland roots. That's where I'm going to find you.
Same time.
In times of joy, may you always share a tapa. And in times of stress, may you never forget to say, no pasa nada.
May all of your adventures continue to be beautiful, joyful, and safe. And may you never be solely responsible for navigation.
May you always share your fun-loving and adventure-seeking attitude with everyone you meet. And may you never forget this beautiful day and all the people that love you.
May your children be born with the perfect curls. And may humidity never give you a bad hair day.
Yes.
May you continue to hike across this wonderful earth, and may you never stop dancing.
The day would not have been possible, obviously, without the help of Cody and Carolyn's parents, who have been instrumental in making them the people that they are today. And at this time, Cody and Carolyn would both like to say a few words to their parents to thank them for their support, guidance, and unconditional love over the years.
Mom and Dad, first, I want to thank both of you for being crazy enough to move to a completely foreign country, halfway across the world with a toddler in tow, with no idea of what was to come. I will always be in awe of the courage you showed leaving the world you knew behind to follow your sense of adventure and take a huge risk. Your decision to raise me and Coral in Japan has been instrumental in inspiring me to look beyond my own borders for the answers to life's toughest questions. You have inspired my deep curiosity about countries and cultures outside my own, encouraging me to not just read about them from afar, but experience them firsthand and constantly learn through the eyes of others about the millions of ways humans can live. Thank you for giving me the gift of an incredible education from the earliest age, providing me access to teachers who never taught me what to think, but how to think. Thank you for serving as an example of the types of teachers and parents I want my own child to have. Nurturing, caring, and patient, who would do anything to make sure their kid is happy and successful. Mom, thank you for giving me your sense of worry about the world in the best way possible. Because without worry, there would be no action. And while our family might give you a hard time about how much energy you spend reading the news and cursing out certain politicians, you don't just sit there and do nothing. You get involved. Whether it's campaigning or volunteering, you're always trying to change your community for the better. You, more than anyone, has taught me to always act locally and think globally. Dad, thank you for giving me my competitive spirit. Whether it's sports, board games, or karaoke, you've taught me while winning isn't everything. It's pretty great. You've shown me that the world is not just going to give you what you want. You have to fight for it every step of the way. But you've also taught me to never take life too seriously and to always hold on to a small piece of my inner child so that I will never grow too jaded and can still experience the world with a sense of wonder. I know I speak for Carolyn too when I say that we're so inspired by the life both of you have lived. You have provided us with a roadmap of how we want our future to play out. Finally, thank you for moving to Hawaii and allowing me to bring Carolyn to Maui on our third date. It pretty much sealed the deal.
Okay. Do you have the tissues, Jim? Tissues? Yeah. These might be harder than my vows. Thank you. Okay, so everyone here knows that I'm obsessed with my parents. I'm so proud of them and proud to be their daughter. So when Cody and I think about marriage, we really look to you because you both have lived such inspirational and wild lives. Mom, when I picture strength, when I picture a strong woman, I picture you. When I need to stand up for myself, I think about what you would want and what you would say in my defense. Your strength is what I aspire to be, and your willingness to follow your dreams. I'm in business school, but you started your own business. You are truly the powerhouse woman that I hope I grow up to be. Dad, you've given me my appreciation for travel. I aspire to be able to make a connection with people in the way that you do. And even though I have a new life partner, you'll always be my best buddy.
And now we get to the good stuff, the exchanging of the vows, the words that every bride and groom wish to hear in Carolyn and Cody today, the words that take them across the threshold of being engaged to being a married couple. But before you recite your views, I ask you to remember that love, which is rooted in faith, trust, and acceptance, be the foundation of an abiding and deepening relationship. No other ties are more tender, no vows are more sacred than those you take today. And if you are able to keep these vows, as I'm sure you will be, that you take today, not because of some religious or civil law, but out of a desire to love and be loved by another person fully, without hesitation, without limitation. Then your life will have the joy, and the home you establish will be a place in which both of you will find the direction of your growth, your freedom, and your responsibility. Now please read the vows that you have written for each other.
Strong men also cry. Just going to put that out front. Carolyn, I'm not sure of the exact moment when I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with you. Maybe it was when we spent New Year's Eve in separate cities, and I physically hurt inside because I missed you so much. Maybe it was sitting exhausted and freezing on top of a volcano in Indonesia as the sun began to come up, realizing there was no one else in the world I wanted to be holding on to for warmth. Or maybe it was standing beneath a giant fuzzy heart at Burning Man wearing a tutu and leggings that no man should wear and thinking, if this girl's cool with me looking like this, you might not want to mess this up. All I know is that with each of these moments, I fell more and more in love with you until the thought of growing old with anyone else was laughable. I'm in love with your curiosity about the world and your constant desire to learn everything you can about history, literature, politics, economics, and most of all, true crime. I'm in love with the devotion and affection you put into all of your relationships, whether it's as a partner, a friend, a colleague, a sister, or a daughter. I'm in love with how you make each and every person you come in contact with feel like they're the only one that matters. I'm in love with your willingness to continually take risks and never play life safe. Whether it's agreeing to leave everything you know behind to explore the world for months on end, or moving across the country to become a student again, you never cease to amaze me with your ability to not just survive, but thrive in whatever situation you find yourself in. Most of all, I'm in love with the life we've built together. Even though we only have a fur baby right now, every day I wake up and feel like we're a true family that would do anything for one another. But I also know that maintaining and building a family will not be easy, and it will take a lifetime of persistence and hard work. That's why I promise you today that I will always work to earn your love and never take your partnership for granted. I promise you that I will make mistakes, probably a lot of them, but that I will try to improve as your husband, partner, and best friend every single day. I promise I will only sing the song, "You are the best thing that ever happened to me," to you and not the dog. I promise you that I will support your ambitions, dreams, and desires and embrace your support for my own. I promise to comfort you on your worst days and laugh with you on your best days. I promise to never stop taking you on adventures, even when we're so old that getting to and from the bathroom is the day's biggest adventure. I promise to learn from you and maybe on the rare occasion, teach you something too. I promise to never stop finding new reasons to fall in love with you over and over again. And as you told me a few years back, you are my person forever and always.
Okay. So when I started to write my vows, I was trying to answer the question, why have I chosen this person to be my partner? So I was going to answer that question. I kept going back to this one memory. And it's actually pretty early. You had just gotten back from backpacking in South America. It was one of your first nights back in DC. We were all crammed into Jason and Brendan's apartment in Adams Morgan. And you were telling us all about your big adventures. And I didn't really know you that well then. So I was sitting on the stairs behind the couch, just creeping and listening in, and I was just fascinated. I was so impressed. I didn't know anybody who had done anything like this. And the reason I go back to that memory is because even though we weren't a couple then, I think it sets the foundation of who we became as a couple. For me, it starts with having so much respect for you and your passion for new experiences. You're always willing to dive into a good conversation, a political debate, a dance party. You taught me what it means to have values that guide daily actions, not just aspirational goals. Even if it means that I can't buy a certain flavor of ice cream because it's made by Nestle. We did get ice cream, it was fine. You're not scared to speak your mind, and I cannot understate how valuable it's been to have your support as I keep working on learning to speak mine. So when I think about what I want our life to look like, I go back to what I learned about you that night. I want us to build a life together that is based on our shared values and mutual respect, a life that rests on the support and love of not just each other, but our incredible community and a never-ending sense of wonder. We've gone on many adventures, and I'd follow you to the great unknown. And in fact, I have. But the truth is, I never have lived this life without you. And of all the things I'm most proud of, most of them I've done by your side. Quitting my job, traveling to Southeast Asia, quitting my job again, going to business school, and moving across the country. And I'm so proud of this, our life. I'm so proud of us. And, dramatic pause. And I'm proud of myself, but I'm most proud of myself when I hear that you're proud of me. So I want to offer vows that will help us live the life that we can both be proud of. But I also have to be honest about what I can't promise. For example, as Shannon mentioned, I can guarantee that I will always be bad at parallel parking and will likely give you horrific directions while you're driving. But I also promise to make the best of detours and unexpected side trips. And I can't promise that I will ever love basketball as much as you do. But I promise to support you and comfort you in times of sorrow, like when the Ducks are losing or your starting center breaks his leg. Too soon? Sorry. Okay. And I will demand that we occasionally spend a snowy Christmas in Minnesota, but I promise to love your family as my own and bring my Minnesota nice to Hawaii. And I wish I could say that I'll wake up cheery and happy every morning, but we both know that's not true. So instead, I vow to make time for you and for us, even when Baloo isn't our only baby. And I vow to encourage you to follow your passion the way you've encouraged me to follow mine. And I vow to stand proud beside you as your partner in this wonderful, challenging adventure that lies ahead. Are you ready?
Carolyn and Cody, now that you've read your vows, please join hands and look at one another now and remember this moment in time. This moment you'll be able to recall 10 years, 20 years, 40 years down the line. The magic that you're feeling at this moment, you'll be able to recapture. So just take a second and savor the moment. It's really wonderful. Do you, Cody, take Carolyn to be your lawful wife, to respect her and in success and in failure, to care for her in sickness and in health, and to nurture and to go through life with us throughout the seasons of life?
I do.
Do you, Carolyn, take Cody to be your lawful husband, to respect him in success and in failure, to care for him in sickness and in health, to nurture him and to grow with him throughout the seasons of life? And now for all of you out there, we ask you to promise to support this loving couple during their marriage. If you agree, please respond with, "We will." We will. And will you surround this couple with love, offering them the joys of your friendship? At times of conflict, will you remember will you offer them the strength of your wise counsel and the comfort of your thoughtful concern? At times of joy, will you celebrate with them, nurturing and nourishing their love for one another? Glad to hear this. Before you place the rings on each other's fingers, please take a moment to look at each other's hands so that you may see the gift that they are to you. These are the hands of your best friend that you are holding here on this your wedding day. These are the hands that will work alongside yours as together you build your future. These are the hands that when wrinkled and aged, they will be reaching out to yours. And at this point in the ceremony, people usually talk about the wedding rings being a perfect circle, having no beginning and no end. But we all know that everything has a beginning, as the rings do. Rock is dug up from the earth, metals are liquefied, and hot metal is forged, cooled, and painstakingly polished. Something beautiful is made from raw elements. Love is like that. It comes from humble beginnings, made by imperfect beings. It is the process of making something beautiful, where there was once nothing at all. And now, Ethan, will you give Carolyn's ring to Cody, please? The ring that Carolyn will receive today comes from her mother, and the ring represents a family heritage. May it be a joy for Carolyn to wear this ring for the rest of her life. Cody, please place the ring on Carolyn's finger and repeat after me. Got the right one there?
Yep.
With this ring I marry you.
With this ring I marry you.
Wear this ring forever as a sign of my love.
Wear this ring forever as a sign of my love.
And now, Ethan, Cody's ring to Carolyn. The ring that Cody will receive today has a pattern of tree bark. Cody chose this ring because it reminds him of the beautiful trees of his homeland, Portland. Carolyn, please place this ring on Cody's finger and repeat after me. With this ring I marry you.
With this ring I marry you.
Wear this ring forever as a sign of my love.
Wear this ring forever as a sign of my love.
Now that you've given yourselves to each other with solemn vows and the giving and receiving of rings in front of all those assembled here, it is my great joy to pronounce you husband and wife. You may now... You may seal your vows with a kiss. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, I am pleased to present the newly married couple, Cody Snell and Carolyn Wright.